official podcast of FCS Fans Nation, with your hosts Kylor Neal, Matthew Frazee, and Jamie Williams.
FCS Fans Nation, we are live! Oh, I am pumped. Welcome to the FCS Fans Nation mock draft special. Alex Marsh, one of our fans, says one of the best times of the year is here. Yes, it is. Ladies and gentlemen, my favorite episode of the podcast season, the FCS Fans Nation mock draft special 2023 edition. And we are so excited that you're joining us. We're already up over 100 viewers, ready to check out tonight's live episode. Thank you so much to everybody joining us on Facebook, Twitter, and of course our YouTube page. And yes, plan to see plenty of those little Mac edition emojis that are so beautiful in my corner. Jamie Williams, the Rev, special guesting with us tonight, and Kylor Neal joining us for us to literally show you what to expect of the next week for the FCS playoff season. And could not be more pumped about this. Kind of has a game day feel, does it not, Jamie Williams?
Yes, it feels very much like game day, which, darn, it's not going to Montana this week. I know people are really looking for Montana to get the game day, but I guess they just had to go where the biggest story in college football is.
Too good. All right. Well, Rev is going to be with us tonight. We're going to give him a little bit of his time to make some picks and stuff. We'll be bouncing him in and out as he's going to be running some of our background show. But Kylor, excited for this thing? You've done a lot of prep and preparation. You ready to get this whole thing rolling?
Hell no. This is the worst episode of all time. I hate you guys. I'm not excited to talk about football. Ready to go to bed, man.
Yeah, ready to put her down on a Sunday. Well, I'm not going to let you go yet, man, because these very small words are going to look a lot bigger if you're viewing live. So don't worry. This isn't the type of presentation you should be expecting throughout the evening. But let me just set the stage a little bit about what's going on for tonight's live episode. If you haven't seen this in the past, what we are going to do is we are going to do a mock playoff selection and bracket build for the playoffs. Now, here's the thing. The whole purpose of this is not to nail the bracket next week. The whole purpose is not to be, we're naturally gonna get this thing perfect. But if we happen to be wrong on a few things, the entire purpose of this thing is for you guys to really learn a few things. Who are the auto bids? Who's got a chance at the auto bids? Who is really on the bubble, off the bubble? How many teams of the 127 realistically can get into the playoffs? And this is going to show you everybody's resumes from ranked wins to wins over non-D1 opponents. And before we get those things kicked off, a huge shout out to Jamie Williams. The Excel sheet that you're looking at and all the things that are going to follow on the bottom tabs are a result of the fact that he's the hardest working stats voter in the nation. And he literally tracks all 127 teams every single week, updated strength of schedule, updated D1 wins, updated everything. So shout out to you, James. 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 Out.
Matt, you're muted, buddy.
Well, yeah, his mic's doing that echo thing again.
Out to you, James. Out to you, James. Out to you, James. Out to you, James.
So, guys, we're having some technical difficulty. Matt's computer right before we started live doing this whole echo thing. Normally, this is why we don't do live and we can edit stuff. So you guys think we are just flawless. But no, Matt with his Fargo stupid ass internet does this all the time. So thanks a lot. He's probably going to have to go ahead and reset. But it sounded, like a good old DJ track. Back to you, Jamie. Back to you, Jamie. Back to you, Jamie. So that was solid. So appreciate the electronic dance music, Matt. We wish you well. I have no clue what Matt was even saying.
You got to be of a certain age to get that comment from Kevin, and it's probably a certain age that is not Kylor.
No. I have no clue what that means.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Somehow you just know. Yeah, good old Max Headroom. Kevin, killing it in the comments the last couple weeks between Max Headroom and Howard the Duck. Some solid feedback from our guy. Got a little trash talk here from Jack Rabbit Illustrated. Matt, thanks for that solid comment there.
We'll just
Yeah,
keep on.
well, we're not real. We're fake.
This is Matt's baby.
See what Joe says, send your gear to their wear. Tyler and I, for whatever reason, tend to just wear the same thing every week, or at least think about it. We don't text each other. We just are on each other's versions, I guess. Take that how it is. I think Matt is back. I don't know if we've got our medium set back. Matt, let's see what you got.
Should we give it a test, guys? How does that sound?
We'll give it a test, guys. Forget us. Oh, yeah, that's better.
Okay, I'm going to pop up the Excel. We still good? We still sound okay?
We just filled space. Go for it.
Good. Awesome.
Also,
All right.
screw everyone in the chat talking about my tattoo. I hate you all.
Good. You got time to talk trash on Kylor. That's awesome. All right. Well, since I delayed us already, and I'm sure I'll do it again because of the North Dakota internet, let's get right into the mock playoff. And this is how we're going to do this, guys. First things first, where do we sit right now? We sit right here in terms of how many teams are actually in the playoffs as we speak. Of course, we have auto bids. We are including, of course, the HBCUs, the MEAC, SWAC East, and SWAC West. They will not be participating. The victors of those conferences, of course, will be going to try to go on to the Celebration Bowl and win the Celebration Bowl. But that means you have 10 auto bids that are going to be heading to the playoffs this year. And right now, as it sits, the Missouri Valley's auto bid is going to South Dakota State. You have the Southern Conference taken by Furman. Nichols comes up out of kind of nowhere from where most people were paying attention to take the Southland. And those are your 3 auto bids that are currently in the playoffs. So congratulations to those squads. And Florida A&M, the Rattlers down there have already locked up the SWAC East to be able to take on the SWAC West. So that's where we currently sit right now, guys. And we are not going to waste your time this evening like I did with my audio and predict every single game for next weekend. We are going to do that here in a second. But there are going to be games we're just simply not going to predict because we anticipate these going as expected. Of course, Chaos will probably say no, no, no. But let's just go through that list real quick about how we anticipate what next week's going to look like. So we anticipate the Rattlers beating Bethune-Cookman to finish 10-1 and win that SWAC East. North Carolina Central, we're going to predict that they beat Delaware State to finish 9-2, even though North Carolina Central, they had a rough one this last week. Idaho, coming off a kind of a surprising loss to Weber, where you're going to expect them to beat Idaho State and finish 8-3. And for that OVC Big South title, Gardner-Webb is going to defeat Charleston Southern to finish 7-4, and they're going to get that auto bid to the OVC. Albany, who's had a heck of a year, is going to beat Monmouth to finish 9-3. The fact that Albany has 12 games, guys, is a result of the fact that they played Hawaii. If you didn't know this, if you play Hawaii, you get an extra game that season, a 12th game, and the NCAA actually pays you too. South Dakota State's going to beat Missouri State to stay undefeated. South Dakota is going to beat Western Illinois to be 9-2. The Salukis are going to down Indiana State to finish 7-4. Youngstown's beating Murray State to finish 7-4. Tennessee State going to take on rival Tennessee Tech to finish 7-4. UT Martin's going to beat Samford to finish 9-2. Lafayette's going to beat Lehigh to finish 9-2 and will auto bid for the Patriot League. So that's a big one, guys. Lafayette defeating Lehigh will finish 9-2 and be your auto bid for the Patriot League. Furman, who's just been dominating folks, will kill Wofford, and they will auto bid for the SoCon, as has already been identified. Mercer does not actually play in the last week. We just wanted to make sure you guys understand that they actually finish 8-3 on the season. Western Carolina beats VMI to finish 8-3. Chattanooga is going to get killed to FBS Alabama to finish 7-4. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Nichols is going to beat Southeastern Louisiana, and they are already the auto bid for the Southland. They get the 1 forfeit win because of the Northwestern situation. And Incarnate Word is going to beat Houston Christian to finish 9-2. And they also have the 1 forfeit victory. So there you go, guys. Those are the games we will not predict, and we hope that they go kind of as planned. So that being said, if those games go according to plan, this is where our auto bids currently sit. For the Big South and OVC, Gardner-Webb is your auto bid right there. Missouri Valley, South Dakota State, as we already mentioned. Lafayette and the Patriot. Furman in the Southern, Nichols in the Southland. So we still have the Big Sky, the CAA, the Northeast, the Pioneer, United Athletic, all those to figure out for the playoffs, along with some of the HBCU situations. So let's get right into it. We actually need to predict some games to be able to set up the at-larges and the bubble for us to be able to select the playoff field. So that being said, let's pick a few games next week, and we're going to start with those SWAC and MEAC situations. And Kylor, Neal, I'm going to give you this first one. Alabama State is going to Prairie View. And to set the stage a little bit right now, guys, Alcorn State got upset big time today. If Prairie View wins that game against Alabama State, they are going to get in and win the SWAC. Make sure I'm saying it right, the SWAC West. But if Prairie View loses, they can still win if Alcorn State gets upset. So, Kylor, I'm going to give that to you, man. Alabama State at Prairie View. Who do you think takes the victory in that game? And now, Kylor, you're as muted as I am.
Oh, there we go. There we go. I literally muted myself because I was drinking and burping. So, didn't think you guys wanted to hear that. So, Matt, I know you love PV. Me too. They're right next to my home. They're pretty close. Unfortunately, Alabama State's taking the dub. They're going to go in there. They've been playing really well the last few, half of the last season. So, I think Alabama State's probably one of the better teams in that conference. Are going to take it.
Dang, Alabama State with the victory. Okay, so Alabama State beats Prairie View, and that sets up a situation where Alcorn State could get the victory, and they could end up winning their division in the SWAC. I get to take this pick, and unfortunately, I'm not going to take Alcorn State, especially after their game today. I'm going to take those Jackson State Tigers that people just forgot about for a home victory. So I'm going to take Jackson State to win that game, meaning Prairie View will win the SWAC West. Even though they're going to lose in the last week, according to Kylor, they will take the SWAC West. Pretty impressive. All right, Jamie. Well, let's talk about this. Morgan State is at Howard. Howard needs a win to take the MEAC title. This is also very important for NC Central. So what do you got, Jamie? Who do you think? Morgan State at Howard.
Yeah, I mean, both of them have some decent wins this year. Morgan State actually has beaten Richmond. And Howard yesterday went and pasted North Carolina Central 50-20. That was a phenomenal outpouring by that team. So who's going to win this game? Easy enough for me to say. I believe that the Bison will actually play for a title this year, but not the Bison you think. Howard wins, goes to the Celebration Bowl, and we'll meet up against the SWAC champion.
Jeez, man, I'm already having audio issues, and God, you go with the team like that. All right, Howard is the victor. Congratulations to the Bison. So we knock out the SWAC and the MEAC there with Howard and Prairie View. Congratulations to those teams. Duquesne at Merrimack. This one's an interesting one. We're going to go snake draft here, guys. So we're going to go right back to Jamie and work our way backwards. So Duquesne at Merrimack, the winner is going to take the Northeast title. Jamie, who's winning that game?
Well, all Duquesne had to do yesterday was win at home against Stonehill, and they had it, and they just blew it. Stonehill scores late. Duquesne comes down the field, has 3 or 4 opportunities, one of which just falls flat in the end zone with a wide open receiver. Stonehill made a play, but they will bounce back, and we will have a Dukes represented in the FCS playoffs as Duquesne takes the win here over Merrimack.
All right, Duquesne getting the victory, and that brings it back to myself. Central Arkansas at Austin Peay, the winner taking the United Athletic Conference title. This is a huge one, huge game here. This one was tough for me. I looked at both of the squads. Central Arkansas, first off, talk about a Hail Mary survival that people are even questioning if it's legitimate or not. But hey, they pulled it off. But when you actually look at the head-to-heads of Austin Peay and Central Arkansas when they took on Eastern Kentucky, both of them had to barely survive to win those games. It's kind of crazy. One required overtime, one required a Hail Mary. Central Arkansas, though, much more of a balanced attack. Top 75 in the offense, top 75 in the defense. Austin Peay, I know there's been improvement there since they lost to SIU really bad, but I don't know if I want to trust a 97th ranked defense against a more balanced attack to Central Arkansas, a great running game. So I'm going to take Central Arkansas to go to Austin Peay and get that victory and win the UAC title. So congratulations to the Bears, Central Arkansas. They are the victors there. That being said, Kylor, NDSU at Northern Iowa, humongous game. What do you think about this one?
Quick question to you, Matt. You may know this because I struggle with geography. Is Northern Iowa in the Dakotas?
No, it is not.
Okay, well, it seems like
you're
based
a
off
jerk.
of this season, that's the only teams NDSU can't win. They can't beat any Dakota. So I gotta think I'm leaning with NDSU, especially how they just rolled through Southern Illinois. This is a team that is playoff ready. Northern Iowa is probably going to do Northern Iowa things and just maybe get themselves off the bubble. We'll see. But I'm going NDSU.
All right, the Bison take the victory. Northern Iowa, unfortunately, that would end their season in this situation. Illinois State at UND. Boo, this is a big one. And Kylor, we're going snake style, so it's right back to you. The Redbirds or Grand Forks Postal Office. Someone's got a chance. Who do you think?
Yeah, ever since, UND beat NDSU, we thought they were high hopes, and then they've kind of looked a little lackluster since, but they do play extremely well on home. I'm pretty sure they're still undefeated at home this year. If it was switched the other way around, maybe I would take Illinois State, but I don't think I can take against the Fighting Hawks at home. So give me UND.
Alrighty, UND with the victory. They are better when they play at home, that's for sure. Coming back my way, Drake at Butler, guys. This one is going to win the Pioneer League title. And I see a lot of love for Drake out there, but I don't quite understand it, to be honest with you. Butler, of course, played Montana extremely well. They've had more blowouts in the victories, I don't know. I feel like Butler has played better ball, and they are the home team. So I'm going to give Butler the win and have Butler be your Pioneer League title winner. So congratulations to Butler. Off to the playoffs you go. Speaking of Montana, all right, Jamie, we're going to see how many people stay tuned in after this one. Rocking the Bobcat shirt. Montana State at Montana, the Brawl of the Wild, Big Sky title on the line, bragging rights, possibly 2-seed, top 4 for sure. What do you got? Montana State at Montana.
This is one of the hardest games to predict because I think there are phenomenal arguments on both sides of the ball. I love Montana's defense. I love the running game of Montana State. And even though that it's in Missoula, I just think Montana State is going to find a way to win this game. I think they're going to use Chambers in some special ways because they're going to have something ready. I know Montana's kind of got the same thing with Ayat and McDowell and Eli Gilman. This is a phenomenal game, but I'm taking the Bobcats, and I'm not going to be surprised if I'm completely wrong.
All right, taking the Bobcats. Boy, I'm pretty high on the Grizz, but this one's going to be a fun game. It'll be exciting. So Montana State, congratulations. You go into our Grizz, you get the victory. Villanova at Delaware. Jamie, I'm going to go right back to you, man. This is a huge one for the CAA. So what do you got, my man?
This game is big. The Battle of the Blue is always important. These two teams have been very good for many years, and it's always meant something. And this year it means a lot. It could mean the auto bid in the CAA. You saw how, if you looked earlier, a bunch of the CAA tiebreakers came out, and they did a great job of breaking down into each situation who it would be. A little note that I've received from our good friend, Delaware fan Joe Gass. This kind of shocked your mind. Delaware has not beaten Villanova at Delaware Stadium since 2004. And Villanova's won 15 of the last 17 overall against Delaware. The Battle of the Blue has tended to go to Villanova. 2004, Joe Flacco wasn't even at Delaware yet. However, I just think Delaware is a more complete team because for the first time since Joe Flacco, they have an extremely dominant quarterback. Ryan O'Connor did come back yesterday, had a really good game. You saw how that result changed. I would take the Blue Hens here, and you'll see as we talk through the tiebreakers here in a little bit after we pick another game, how that'll change things for the CAA and the FCS playoffs at large.
Yeah, the CAA, this is it's my pick now, Richmond at William and Mary. So Delaware gets the victory here. So I guess me picking this game can have serious impacts as they've just been posting the CAA, kind of reasonings of what the tiebreakers would be. And so, yeah, really, if you're Delaware here, you need Richmond to lose when they go to William and Mary. Before I get to that one, I do want to point out Jason Groom's a great bracketologist, good fan of ours. I did make the edits on this, guys. Butler getting the victory as I picked would actually give Davidson our auto bid from the Pioneer League. So I have that edited on the next couple slides. So Davidson, congratulations. You're the victors of the Pioneer League. See, everybody learns a little something on this show. So that being said, it is my pick here for Richmond at William & Mary. And I just think William & Mary may be down a little bit, but I just don't trust Richmond to go into William & Mary and get the victory. It's a playoff situation. So I think the big fourth quarter gives momentum in a rivalry game, and I think it just keeps Richmond out, and William & Mary has a fighting chance. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to say Richmond loses and would give Delaware our auto bid to the CAA in that situation. So congratulations to the Blue Hens, and we'll see where it goes. Kylor, you got the last one here to predict, my man. Sac State at UC Davis. This is a really, really intriguing one, especially when we look at the statistics.
The claws away, what are they, 8 miles apart, something sexy like that. It's always a big game. They had like 15,000 fans last year's game. Here's the deal. The Big Sky's not that good this year. I don't want to see multiple teams just outside maybe the top 3. So let's create some chaos. Let's talk about the favorite words from our good friend Chris Hammond. Stingers Don. So I'm going UC Davis, the Fighting Land Larisons, the Fighting Dan Hawkins. We are going UC Davis gets to the upset, if you call that an upset. I mean, they're both not good. So that's where I'm going. UC Davis.
All
Stingers
right.
Don.
UC Davis with the victory. Wow. Okay. That's really going to cause a little bit of chaos. And now it's going to be tough to start picking between these 7-win and 4-win teams. But guys, good job predicting the games, which leads us to this. Ladies and gentlemen, here you go. This would be your auto bid conference victors. Out of the Big Sky, Montana State takes the victory. Out of the Big South OVC, Gardner-Webb. The CAA gets Delaware as their auto bid. Duquesne takes the Northeast Conference. Patriot gets Lafayette. The Pioneer League gets Davidson. Thank you, Jason Grooms, our man. Appreciate you. Southern Conference gets Furman. Southland gets Nichols. And the United Athletic Conference gets Central Arkansas. Of course, the MEAC goes to Howard. And then the SWAC East and West matchup will be Prairie View A&M versus Florida A&M. So that should be a lot of fun. Okay, guys, so we have our auto bids, but here's the big one. This is the one people besides seeding are going to be so interested about. So here's the thing. We have identified 25 teams that remain that have at least 7 wins. And of those, we've kind of broken them down into our green, blue, yellow, and orange categories of, all right, these are the most likely to get the at-large bids, all the way to, boy, we better have some hefty debate on these ones. We also identified things with green and red. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, you're missing out, by the way. We've identified kind of one thing green and one thing red that could be a sticking point of why they should be in and why they shouldn't be in. And there you go. So, guys, for our at-larges, the Rev is back there just working the comments for us, which we appreciate. Rev, make sure you unmute yourself because we've been butchering that this whole time. And we're going to give Rev the first pick, guys, for the first at-large. After that, we're going to go in order, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3s, and then we're going to give the Rev actually pick number 8 as well. So, Rev, these are your at-large options. We got to get 14 teams in here. Who are you going with first to put into the field, my man, and why so?
Well, I'm going to pick the other team from South Dakota, the University of South Dakota. Chad Myro is his favorite team. He won't admit it publicly, but we have messages that show that. I mean, look at their performance this year. They've played well through the valley. They've won the games they need to win. Yeah, they lost to SCSU, but they're still up there as a top 10 team. It's an easy pick. They probably will get a seed too as well. So it's an easy one to put in for the at-large.
All right, Rev, appreciate you. Appreciate you back there managing the comments, getting them thrown up for us. All right, guys. So South Dakota goes off the board. Any thoughts on that, Kylor, or is that an easy pick?
That is going to be one of the more simplistic picks that we see today. So good job, Rev. You really utilized your mind. You made the tough one, so we appreciate you.
All right, South Dakota goes off the board, and I did this order on purpose because I'm not as smart as Kylor or Jamie. The order will be myself, Kylor, and then Jamie. So I'll just move us around to here a little bit just to make sure things are set. That being said, I mean, come on now. If he's going to take the easy one, South Dakota, I'll take the second easy one, which is labeled in green as well. We got to go with the Grizz in Montana, even though in our predictions or the hypothetical with Jamie, they do go down in the battle of Grizz and Bobcats. You're talking about a team that has 9 wins. 3 of them are ranked. They only have 1 non-D1 win, but that's not really going to affect them. And their only loss besides NAU is going to come to Montana State and a 43rd overall Massey strength of schedule. The Grizz are for sure in the playoff field and likely looking at a seed. We'll have to see how it goes. But the Grizz are an easy pick in my decision. That being said, before we go any further, guys, if you're not watching on YouTube, things we're looking at right now, we're looking at, are there FBS wins involved? How many ranked wins at the time do these teams have? Remember, the committee is going to go off of ranked wins at the time. Whether you love it or whether you hate it, that's how they're going to pick it. And then how many losses do they have? Were the losses ranked? Do they have FBS losses? Non-D1 wins don't count. Like, the committee doesn't even view them as an actual victory. So that being said, Montana's still an easy pick, and I'm going to pop them in there. And that puts Kylor on the board. What do you think there, Mr. Neal?
Let's see here. Do I want to go something just crazy and screw up your guys' whole order, or do I just keep it kind of easy?
It's kind of like the auction draft in fantasy football. You know, you can kind of do whatever you want.
Also, I just have to comment on Brandon on the comments because they're arguing back and forth. Nichols is 6-0 in conference play right now. Brandon, not 5-1. So all of their other losses came from outside of the conference in the Southland. That's why. Mm-hmm. So let me go. Yeah, you just got to go with Albany. I mean, that's a very simple pick. They're winning. Yeah, they're going to be in.
Very cool. Albany gets in there. 9 wins for the Great Danes. Possibly looking at a seed there, Kylor. You think they got a shot?
We're going to find out.
Oh, yeah. Temptation at its best. All right, guys. South Dakota, Montana, and Albany are our 3 teams so far in the at-larges. Love our folks who listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, but make sure you subscribe to YouTube because watching this stuff is a lot more fun. All right, Jamie, finally down to you, my man. The greens are gone. We're now into teams where things get a little bit more questionable. Who is going to be our 4th at-large team?
I still think we've got another really easy one. A team with an FBS win, team with a top 5 win with 3 ranked wins. The Idaho Vandals slide right into the playoffs.
Idaho. Yeah, a team that really people were talking about just a few weeks ago as possibly being the 2 seed, the 3 seed. You know, that loss to Weber has really dropped them down, and it's going to cause them a lot of problems. So, unfortunately, Idaho, we'll see if they can pull the seed off, maybe, but they come in at an at-large, and congratulations to the Vandal. So, alrighty, that brings it back to myself, and I feel like I can't pick North Dakota State, even though it's easy, because then everyone's just going to scream and yell at me. I want to dig a little bit deeper than that.
Pick the team that's supposed to be in. It's just go to easiest to hardest to debate.
I really... So let's think about this.
Jackson State.
Hey, come on. 8 wins in this situation. All right. I want to talk about these teams. North Carolina Central, UT Martin, Austin Peay. Those are the teams that are up there where people are going to be like, really? Is that who you're going to throw in, even how many wins they have? Let's talk them down a little bit. North Carolina Central and UT Martin each have 9 wins. North Carolina Central does have a non-D1 win, but the committee can use it. Austin Peay, 8 wins, 3 losses. How many ranked wins do all these teams have? 1. North Carolina Central sits there with 1 ranked win. They also have an FBS loss, which shouldn't hurt you. All 3 of those teams do. And 2 losses across the board. All right, North Carolina Central and UT Martin, each with 2 losses. Each of them have an FBS loss. North Carolina Central has the ranked win. I think North Carolina Central will be in the field and should make the field. You get 9 wins. I know it's a 94th strength of schedule. That's the big thing. 94th strength of schedule. If that ranked win said 0, I would, I'd want to steer away from it maybe. But I'm going to give North Carolina Central, especially off their success, I'm going to give them the bid for that one. Any debate on that one, gentlemen, or what do you think?
I mean, I
one,
personally would wait a while on them. Just
Yeah, I would
think
wait.
there's a lot of other teams to talk about first.
I mean, that
You want to
just
wait on
ruined
North
it.
Carolina Central?
That just ruined everything. I mean, they remind me a lot of that McNeese team that had 9 wins. I get the committee said, D2 wins aren't a throwaway game anymore for some reason. But again, one of their 9 wins is a D2 game, plus a really bad strength of schedule, and then just getting shellacked this last weekend. That paints a picture on a resume. I'm not saying they're not in the field, Matt. You trust whatever you want. I'm just saying that reminds me a lot of that McNeese 9-win team that did not make the field. But who am I? I'm just a Bobcat Grizz fan, just sitting here confused about this weekend. Have no clue. I love the big pile of shit trophy, so that's all I'm here for.
It's like, okay, so I have to do the balancing. Now I have to do the balancing act here.
Get weird.
Well, okay, I have to do the balancing act of look at all these 7-4 teams with a stronger strength of schedule. Okay, I throw up the 7-4 versus the 9-2. I don't know about that. Okay, I'm gonna defend them with my life, but just to make it more interesting. Okay, I'll put, because it's easy, not because I'm a fan of them. Yes, I love them. I'll put North Dakota State in because it's easy. They have 3 ranked wins, 19th strength of schedule. I don't think they deserve to be a seed, but I'll put NDSU in. But I'm coming back for this North Carolina Central because it's going to come down to it. So I'm in it for the shock value, I guess. So there you go. North Dakota State. We'll throw them in there, and we'll move on from there. Who even goes after me? Kylor, you're next, right?
Yeah, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to give a little bit of credit to the Southern Conference and bring in Mercer, just because I'm not sold about Chattanooga yet. And then at least Mercer has the head-to-head over Western Carolina. At 8-3 seasons done, I don't know how you can leave Mercer out right now. The SoCon, they're not as bad as they were in previous seasons. They're more balanced, especially up top. They have some really strong teams up top, then a little bit of gap, and then they got like the Citadels of the world or who are just trash. But I think Mercer's damn near locked to make the postseason. So yeah, give me Mercer right now.
Do you really think? Okay, I have to ding you on Mercer if you got to ding me in North Carolina Central, because like the difference in strength of schedule there is 20 slots.
Yeah,
and 3 losses for Mercer, and each have an FBS loss. They each have the equal amount of ranked wins. There is the non-D1 win. So I guess if you put it on equal playing field, that's still 1 less loss for North Carolina Central.
Yeah.
How is Mercer so much more valued than North Carolina Central there? Because their strength of schedule is not great. That's not great.
I mean, again, they didn't lose by 40 last week. And also the committee does like what's kind of been done at the end of this season. So they are rattling off, 4 straight wins, including a win over Western Carolina. Their losses are to Ole Miss. Now that was a big one, 73-7 or something like that. That was ridiculous, but it's not like Chattanooga where they lost to North Alabama or something pretty bad like that. So yeah, I just think, I don't know. I get they lost to Chattanooga to Mercer, but I think 8-3 is a lock for that Mercer team.
All right.
I think that because, that's still 8 Division I wins, just like NCCU, but still, yeah.
All right, we'll give it to Mercer. First playoff appearance, right? I'm right with that.
First ever playoff appearance for
program
the Mercer
history.
Bears.
Congratulations!
They should be a lock.
Congratulations to the Bears and to Kevin Socon. Here they come. Jamie Williams, what do you got, man? We are currently sitting with South Dakota, Montana, Albany, Idaho, North Dakota State, and Mercer as playoff teams. Who's next up?
I get a lot of stuff wrong, but when I get them right, I'm going to have to call it here. I am going to pound my chest a little bit and put in out of the SoCon the Western Carolina Catamounts. I have been telling you all for 2 years to watch this team. I told you this year would be the year I think they would break into the playoff field. And with their performance this year, got a couple of ranked wins, only an FBS loss, and another ranked loss. That is a team that, and let's talk about their losses too. Outside of that, they've lost in the Southern Conference. They didn't have their best player. He should be back from the playoffs from what I'm hearing. So Western Carolina Catamounts right into the playoffs. I'll take a victory lap on that one because there's a chance I take a a hit on another one later, depending on how that goes. But I'm only going to talk about what I got right. Western Carolina right into the playoffs.
So I like the Western Carolina pick because the 2 ranked wins is really good, and the 44th strength of schedule. That's where I had to give a little crap on the Mercer thing, but I personally, Kylor, Western Carolina, easy pick here. This was one you were already tracking.
Yeah, I mean, they got to 8 wins. 8 wins in the SoCon, especially with how big of this bubble is. I think that does, jump them over the Chattanooga out of the SoCon. So now we're looking at 3 SoCon teams. I think that's pretty safe.
Very cool. All right, SoCon looking good. Kevin Marshall getting them going. All righty. Well, go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, I'm seeing a bunch of comments about ranked wins and stuff. I will tell you my ranked wins. I've only put that up against the Stats Perform poll. I didn't go looking at the coaches poll for the ranked win. So I understand some of those comments out there. For if they were in the coaches poll, they would have a ranked win. That is true. But when I put this together, I've just been looking at the stats poll. I have some time, but I don't have all the time in the world. And the coaches poll is so much trash, I can't even look at it to
so bad.
So.
Yeah, if the committee can just like screw UND when they had to travel to Weber, even though they outbidded, we could use the good poll instead of the crap poll. I think that's okay, right? I think that's an okay thing. Mr. The Rev, Dustin Held, if you want to unmute yourself, our background comments extraordinaire. You're coming in, my man. This is pick number 8 of the at-large teams. Would love to give your take. Now it's a little tougher. Not the first pick here. Who are you keying in on?
Yeah, and I'm sure the comments section is going to go nuts for this, but hear me out. I think it's Austin P. I think they're going to sneak in. Even with a loss to UCA, I still think they're going to sneak in. If you look at their Massey strength of schedule.
Company man.
not saying it. No, but I mean, look at their strength schedule. It's up there. You look at their games. The problem is they don't have a sexy win, right? They have losses to SIU. They have losses to Tennessee and now potentially Central Arkansas, who is ranked. But they also, the United has probably been one of the most conferences, probably one of the most parity in it as well. So it's not necessarily playing good teams and bad teams. It's teams in the middle. So I think they're going to sneak in even at an 8-3 record. They'll probably be one of the last ones in, but I'm putting them in.
All right. The Rev is taking Austin P. For shock value at this point with North Carolina Central not in there is absolutely disgusting. But Rev, I do like that pick. Austin P. will put him in there at 8-3, and we'll bring him in. Thank you for managing that background, Rev. You are the man.
Yeah, get out of here.
Austin P. enters the field. Boy, it is starting to dwindle. All righty, so Rev done here, comes back to myself for the next pick. And now things start to get interesting. Let's take a look at this UT Martin team. I'm going to go right back to those.
Guessing all of your other stuff now.
I mean, I saw a great tweet by the Jackrabbit Illustrated guys today, and maybe it's in my head. And they go, is UND and this team, these 7-4 Valley teams, like, are they that good? Or did they beat NDSU and NDSU's not that good this year? It's like, how, like, should we just throw all these teams in and just discount the 9-win victors? And UT Martin here, 60th strength of schedule. That's 34 spots ahead. That's better than Mercer. That's a better strength of schedule than Mercer. They got to 9 wins. They have an FBS loss, so they really only have one FCS loss. However, no ranked victory. So that one, it does give me a little bit of pause. But the fact that their strength of schedule is better than a Mercer team that we put in, and they have 9 victories, which is one above an Austin P team that we put in, I'm going to go with UT Martin. I think that's a good pick, and I think that they do deserve to be into the field. And they're part of that product of the OVC Big South weird situation. So I think UT Martin goes in. Any qualms about that one, or how are we feeling?
No, you can have that one.
I got nothing.
UT Martin. All right. We'll put them into the field. Welcome to the team. And yeah, see, I bet we were going to be called a bunch of Big Sky, CAA, Sun Belt, Missouri Valley lovers around here. But guess what? We're getting a fair field out here. And Kylor, it's your turn next, my man.
Yeah, Sun Belt's trash if Jamie can go in there and just wreck havoc that easy. So sorry, Jamie. Sun Belt's trash. I gotta go with yeah, it is. Hey, trash is good. I wish my team was in trash conference. I hope it keeps regressing. All I know is I want to take the easy pick so then I can watch Matt try and dissect if there's an 8-win team or a 9-win team. I want Matt to have all of the hard ones. So give me Villanova because that one is 100% a lock. So, I'm really using my big brain for this one.
Nova going in there, a ranked victory, 3 losses, 1 to the FBS. Everyone, I think it was Chad, was throwing out the comment. He goes, when do we start talking about quality losses? But Villanova also sits at a strength of schedule 47th, a solid CEA team that was right in the mix there to try to get that auto bid. So Villanova from the CAA, the Coastal Athletic, enters the field.
Ugh.
I like that pick, Kylor. That's a good one. So
I hate the Coastal. That just sounds stupid.
sounds so weird.
Is
All
Villanova
right.
even on the coast? I'm pissed.
Yeah, Jamie, is Villanova on the coast?
It's a little inland. It's just outside of Philadelphia. It's got a little
Gross.
coming off.
Name one beach in Philadelphia. Go eat your stupid hoagie roll meat plates and cheese bums.
Kyler's never been more proud of a pick, but he just hates the location. That being said, Jamie, we have a blue team left, North Carolina Central. Seems like we're leaving them there for shock value at this point. You guys are just being mean. And Jamie, who do you got? We got.
Yep.
It's getting tough now.
We're going to leave the blue team again. I think there's an easier pick when you start looking at those 7-win teams, and that's kind of where we are right now. We're looking at 7-win teams, and we're looking at, does Incarnate Word get in? Then we're looking at a bunch of those Big Sky teams. We're looking at some more CA. We're looking at Valley, but that's where we are. That's unfortunately that's cream rises to the top. And I'm going to have to take a team with a couple of ranked wins and the kicker of an FBS win. They've fallen off, and I know the committee doesn't like when you fall off late, but they've fallen off to some pretty good teams. I'm going to have to put the Southern Illinois Salukis in. So I think they're still going to get in if they wind up with 7 wins. That FBS win is very key, and they obviously play in the Valley, have a couple of ranked wins. So Southern Illinois will get in the field.
There we go.
Yeah, that one's tough to argue. I mean, really think about this is, all right, FBS win, check. Ranked wins at the time, 2. Their losses, 3 of the 4 come to ranked teams. 5th best schedule out there. Are you thinking Southern Illinois is going to go get beat by some of these auto bid teams? I don't think so. That's a pretty quality team. So even though I spelled Southern wrong, they are a very talented program. So Southern Illinois gets into the field at 7-4. That's our first 7-4 squad, I believe. And congratulations to them. Okay. No more playing games. I'm done with this. Blues going bye-bye. North Carolina Central is definitely going into the field. There's no way at 9 wins, even with the 94 strength of schedule.
It's never happened before. No way. Never.
Ranked win. They've got 1 ranked win. Look at the rest of the list. That's on par with 4 of the remaining 14 options. Only UC Davis beats them in that. In terms of wins, they got more wins than everybody else. And North Carolina Central, to me, is definitely the team that gets in. And I'm going to take them to be the victors. I know you guys maybe wanted to wait a little bit on that one, but I think that one's
like chaos.
It was your last pick, so neither one of us was putting them in. So
yeah.
There you go. I'm glad I got it in before this whole thing ended, which leaves us just
get in.
I think they should. It'd be crazy not to. Yellow and orange are the remaining categories, if you will. And that leads to you there, Kylor Neal. Who are we putting into the field next?
Well, because North Dakota just beat Illinois State in the last week, right? This is all the hypotheticals. One of those teams getting in, one of them's getting bounced. You got to go with the home team, the Fighting Hawks. They hold off Illinois State at the end, and they get to punch their ticket. Not to Frisco, probably not even to a home game because the committee screwed them last year. So who knows? They'll bid more than everyone and still get sent on the road to maybe Austin Peay or something like that. Let's have some fun. Sorry, Fighting Hawks, but you are going to be in the playoff field. So there you go.
All right. Well, North Dakota gets the call, and that would leave That's 13 of 14 teams completed if you're listening to us via audio, and that leaves one slot remaining. Let's just go down the list a little bit for the folks. The teams that we felt could have a really good shot, kind of could get in: Sac State, UC Davis, Richmond, William & Mary, and Youngstown State all sit at 7-4 wins. Are kind of you need a lot of help category: Incarnate Word, Tennessee State, Chattanooga, Holy Cross, Drake, Alabama State, and Jackson State. So, Jamie, who are like your 2-3 options here? And before you officially selected, Jamie, we'll have a little bit of fun here. Rev, I'm going to bounce you back in. Make sure you unmute yourself. We'll start with you, Kylor, before Jamie makes his pick. Who would you select in this situation and why? You get the last pick. Who and why?
Yeah, I think I would, even though I just had them lose, and they probably won't even lose this weekend, so it's a moot point. Sac State, they beat Stanford, right? At 7 wins with a Power 5 win, you're probably getting in, especially when you have, a top 25 strength of schedule. It'd be pretty hard to leave that team out when they have a Power 5 win.
I like the argument there. I would, Power 5. I think with that head-to-head, 1 point strength of schedule bump, 2 ranked wins, I think I would probably go UC Davis.
Yeah.
That 2 ranked wins looks really good. That 23rd strength of schedule looks strong. I don't see anybody in the orange category that impressed me. I think I'd go UC Davis. Rev, who would be your final one and why?
I mean, if we're basing it on the results we expect, then I think it's going to be UC Davis over Sac State, just because of the head-to-head. I think that would give them the bump to do it. So that would be my pick, would be the Aggies.
Alrighty, well, our picks and who we are means nothing because it's Jamie Williams' selection. What do you think there, Jamie? Who are we going with?
Gosh, there's a lot of teams I'm looking at. I'm looking at Sac and UC Davis. I'm looking at Youngstown. I'm going to ignore those 2 CAA teams. I just don't think CAA 7 wins there with 63 and 83 strength of schedule is not good enough.
Homer.
That's right. I'm not looking at them. They don't count. If I'm thinking like the committee, am I looking at Incarnate Word? Am I looking at Holy Cross? Probably not. They just have a nice strength of schedule overall, but they didn't get that win over Army. They dropped to Lafayette. They lost to Harvard. I think I was leaning towards Sacramento State with the FBS win, but if we're going to say in the last week that team's that close, based off the results predicted, if you're telling me UC Davis wins that game, they've got to get the last spot. And you can also talk about UC Davis. They talk about how you win. What's the team like? If you listen to Kent Haslam on Sam's podcast, he does say that there are some intricacies in teams. And having Land Larson out for a chunk of time, you don't know how some of those games might have flipped the other way. And I know you don't like to really project and say what if, but you can kind of think about some of that. Their best offensive weapon is out. So I think I'm going to have to lean UC Davis. Youngstown State looks really good, but only 1 ranked win is just not good enough, even with a great strength of schedule. I just don't see Youngstown getting it. I'm going to have to give it to UC Davis.
All right, UC Davis takes the final spot. And Kylor, when you look across this board of these at-larges, how do you think it is overall? And in terms of, you're going to see here too on the screen, who's kind of left over, how you feeling about it?
I mean, I think there's definitely a few teams I would have left off myself, but it is what it is. And I'm staring at you, Matt, blank face. But I get it. Their 8 D1 wins is, I guess, 8 D1 wins. So,
and I think that's the thing for me that's why I'm having pause on Central, because as much as we'd love to see them in there, they got hammered by Howard. And I know they say the committee is not ignoring the non-D1 wins, but it's still 8 FCS wins. And I feel like you've got 7-win teams that's played a lot better. I mean, an 8th strength of schedule with 7 wins and a ranked win, to me, trumps 8 FCS wins and a cheaper ranked win and 100 strength of schedule.
And I don't even think Salem-Winston. Someone could probably look it up in the
Salem
comments.
State. They're terrible.
Or whatever it is. Yeah, I was going to say, what's their record? It's not like
if it was me,
Grand Valley State.
Yeah, if it was me, I'd have Youngstown over Central. That would be the only thing I would.
It will be interesting to see
It is
what
crazy.
the committee does. That's for sure.
Does a little bit of last year have a little weight on the same committee? Because aren't they all pretty much the same this year?
is.
And then it rotates. Incarnate
Mostly the
Word
same.
missing out on a game now. I don't think they deserve to be in, but there's a weird feeling that maybe they'll get in, but I wouldn't put them in myself.
Well, we will be able
I'd
to
put them in
see-
over NCCU though.
I'm still trying to talk Matt out of the North Carolina Central thing.
No, it's locked in. We're doing it. We can't talk them out.
Got it. Got to roll with it. Got to roll with it. The Austin P one throws me for a loop more honestly than the North Carolina Central one. I think that
Also,
lost at
piece
the
of
end.
the UAC also.
UAC. Okay. Yep. Let me get that right. Never. It's hilarious that people still listen to me. They should not do that. Not smart. Not a good call. But this really does. It is a good breakdown here, thinking on the fly of who's in and who's out and what conference they are from. And taking a look at it live here on YouTube, you can clearly see that we have 4 Missouri Valley Conference teams. You got 2 teams in from the SoCon. Of course, these are the at-larges. There's auto bids for everybody. And 3 Big Sky teams get in, 2 CAA teams get in, and we get 1 from the MEAC as well. So kind of an interesting spread. UAC and OVC each get 1 representative. So pretty cool. All right, guys. So now what we get to do is take a look at our at-larges, our whole field. Look at this. Whoop. Look at Mom and Dad. I'm learning Excel. Here we go. This is what our playoff field looks like. But the work is not done, gentlemen. Just because we have at-large teams selected and we have auto bids selected, we need to decide who is going to be the top 8 seeds in the playoffs. This is where the real fun begins. So taking a look at this field and also utilizing the giant list that we had on the first screen, who are we going to go with seeds? Now, this is going to be a very structured things. We are going to go down the line again, just like we did with the at-larges. I'll select the 1 seed because that's easy and I'm dumb. Kylor gets to select the 2 seed because his team's not in the playoffs. And Jamie's having too much fun in the Sun Belt, so he has to wait all the way till the 3 to pick. Okay? And then we'll go back to Matt, Kylor, Jamie, all the way through all the 8 seeds. Alrighty, so, boy, number 1 team. This is really tough. Is anybody undefeated? Is anybody really good?
NCCU. Put them
Who
in.
won the national championship last year? Was it
Sam
Montana,
Houston.
somebody? All right. No more messing around. Very easy, guys. 11-0, undefeated, top offense, top defense. Missouri Valley, South Dakota State is undoubtedly going to be your 1 seed.
Holy crap. How'd you come up with that?
Yeah, I'm pretty smart. I think about things right at the last second. So we're going to go with South Dakota State as our 1 seed, and I'm going to place them right here. Look at that. And we're able to see that they are the number 1 overall team, which, remember, as we're about to pick number 2 here, Kylor, Montana has lost,
Okay.
and we have a lot of good options. Who are we feeling for a 2 seed?
Well, because Montana lost in this scenario, I'm going to play back to what the committee posted a few weeks ago with their top 10. I would lean towards South Dakota myself, but the committee had Furman above South Dakota. So I think an undefeated Furman team who was already in the committee's eyes ahead of South Dakota, I think you're just probably going to keep Furman in that number 2, even if I'm not sold they're the top 2 team or the second most deserving team.
All right. So Furman gets the number 2 seed. Quick question for you both. Jamie, since you picked Montana State to actually beat Montana, let's say it goes the other way. And let's say Montana wins that game. Who do you think would be the 2 seed? Montana or Furman in that situation?
I think it would go to Montana. I think it would.
Is that
The committee also had Montana ranked ahead of Furman.
Yeah.
I mean, they had Montana as what? Or no, I guess they had Montana State as a 2. This is a few weeks ago before Montana State lost to Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
Montana was ranked below Furman, maybe.
Yep.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
It'll be interesting, especially with Montana State getting that victory. But Furman is just going to have that edge of not losing to literally anybody but an FBS team. They're in the SoCon. And in our situation, guys, when you look at the playoff teams, the SoCon has 2 playoff teams on top of their auto bid. That's 3 playoff teams, and they were undefeated against the FCS. So Furman being that 2 seed in this situation, I think is extremely justified. Okay, so that brings us to Mr. Jamie Williams. Now I think it gets tough, man. We have to look at the 3 seed. Who are you thinking, my man?
I don't think it's honestly that tough because you're going to be looking at a 9-win team with 4 ranked wins, a ranked loss, and an FBS loss, and that will be the South Dakota Coyotes. They would be the 3 seed in this scenario.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, their resume to me will slot out above Montana State's. They both have 9 wins, but Montana State's losses will have been to good teams, all the top 7 teams, I believe, top 8 teams. But they only have 2 ranked wins, 3 ranked wins at the time. So I'm going to say that South Dakota edges them for the 3 seed.
Okay, so who else, because this is really the divider, who else do you think would be semi-deserving of that spot, if anybody?
The Montana State would be my other discussion for the 3 seed.
Okay.
And we would, if the committee does do this, and I'm assuming, I'm not going to assume, if Montana State gets to 4 or 5, that's probably the best chance they have because they would rather go see South Dakota State on 1 week versus giving 3 weeks in Frisco. And I still don't give them much a shot to get it done. But I'm going to say South Dakota gets a 3, and we'll see where you go for the 4 and 5. But that's where I would.
Okay.
Yep.
It is just crazy to kind of hear it, isn't it? Like, I mean, you've heard these teams for so many years. South Dakota's made the field before, but
and I will say, I'm kind of going against what I've been saying all day, in other arguments, so to speak. But with Montana State winning, that I can see the other argument I can give to Montana State is they're an outright champion of the Big Sky, whereas South Dakota is not the champion of the Missouri Valley. So that's where I could see Montana State getting put at the 3. And I think with the outright championship, I need to stay consistent. I'm changing my mind. Montana State gets the 3.
Oh, you're switching it up. No joke.
Yep. I just talked myself into it.
All right. So Kylor,
we're live. We're live. And,
live.
And just the more you think about it, I've been saying it all day. Somebody wins a conference outright. Furman won the Southern Conference outright and undefeated against the FCS. Gives them a leg up. Montana State, similar enough numbers to South Dakota. There'll be 1 fewer ranked win. They won't have an FBS, but to win that Big Sky outright, that's the number 3 seed. I reserved the right to shame on the fly because we were still in that discussion.
Kylor, it was not moved on yet. What do you think about that pick compared to South Dakota? Is that the 2 teams worthy of debating in that selection spot?
Yeah, those would be, I mean, honestly, Furman, Montana State, and South Dakota would all be kind of in an argument for who's the top 2, 3, and 4. Because, the committee has done things where maybe resume wasn't as important and they thought, hey, we're going to give this, like last year, NDSU a 3 seed, who they just thought was better than everyone else, even though maybe their resume didn't favor against maybe a Samford or a couple other Montana State, those type of programs that probably should have been above NDSU. So, I mean, if you're looking as a committee member, you'd probably go, all right, well, they do have one common opponent, right? One was a last play. The other one was a blowout. I think most people would probably bet on Montana State if they played South Dakota. I don't think that would be a crazy bet to think Montana State. Most people would bet them to beat that team. So, South Dakota has a little bit of the better resume, but all 3 of those teams, you can argue for a 2, 3, or 4 if they win out kind of like they were supposed to.
All right. Well, Montana State, congratulations. You get that win, and you are the 3 seed. So, boy, it brings it back to myself. And all righty, let's take a look at it before I just react too quickly. And looking at the teams that I've kind of left up on the table, if I'm missing one, please let me know. South Dakota, because Jamie just talked them up, I think here is the easy pick. I don't want to just immediately discount our friends, the Grizz, just because they lost at the end. They still sit with 3 ranked wins, but South Dakota would sit with 4. Non-D1 wins, Montana has 1, South Dakota has 0. They have an equal record, both an FBS loss for South Dakota, not for Montana. Equal ranked losses, Strength of schedule goes to South Dakota. There's just too many factors there. Everything across the board. Yeah, I thought it was closer. All the way across the board goes to South Dakota.
Yeah.
And we got to give USD the 4 here, guys. Any debate on that one?
No, I think because of the scenarios we just put out now, doesn't mean the games are actually going to happen like we predicted them to this weekend, but everything that we just posted spread out. I mean, these are your top 4 seeds if the games go as planned.
Okay. And don't worry, Grizz fans. The Brawl of the Wild is nothing as planned, but those other ones, they're probably going to go as planned. Okay, Kylor, we're going back to you, my man. We're at the 5 seed. Teams we still have up on the screen for our audio listeners. We have Idaho, Montana, Albany, Delaware, and North Dakota State. 4 seeds remaining. North Dakota State, I just have them up there, guys. Not saying that they're going to be a seed, but there might be a few other options there at the end. Kylor, what are you thinking? Idaho, Montana, where are we leaning for the 5?
It's between 2 teams right now. Actually 3. So, I think I would have to still lean Montana in this one. Being 9-2, 3 ranked wins, all of them were, top 10 teams. I get the NAU loss is bad, and then, pending this Montana State game, if they lose bad, maybe that changes a few things. I anticipate no matter what, it's going to be close because both these teams are really good. So, yeah, I would say even that non-D1 win, Kent Haslam, he's on the committee. It is what it is. So, yeah, give me Montana, even if they lose to the Montana State. They're still a lock at 5.
Their victory over Idaho was huge. Albany, they have 1 more ranked win than that team. The strength of schedule difference, according to Massey, at this point, that's all going to change next week. Jason Grooms has done a great job in the background here showing us how those strength schedules are going to look next week. We're going off of this week. It's all we have right now. With Albany being 36 and Montana being 43rd, probably not that big of a deal. Albany, 2 FBS losses, so maybe Great Danes there, but I like the pick of Montana. Jamie, any opposition there for Montana to be number 5?
None whatsoever. No, I think that's the right call right there. Even losing the Brawl, I think that's solid for them.
Very cool. All right, Jamie. Well, this is number 6, and things. Here we go. Idaho, Albany, Delaware, North Dakota State, etc. Who are we thinking here?
Honestly, the way it's broken down, I think this one is actually pretty easy. I think it's Albany, 9 wins. 2 of their 3 losses are FBS losses, and both of them were fairly close. And then I want to say it was Villanova that they lost to, and not very good, a great loss. But I think it was them. It might have been somebody else.
That was Villanova.
So I think that Albany.
Oh no, it was New
Hampshire?
Hampshire. They beat
New Hampshire.
Nova.
New Hampshire.
That's what it was.
They did. That's right. I was backwards on that. But that's that's another ranked win there. New Hampshire. That's right. They went to New Hampshire, which, like we always say, is a tough place to play.
Yep.
So I think Albany slides into the 6th seed. I don't see anybody else that we can put above them for the 6th. So I think I'd have to go there.
Yeah.
I think it's a solid pick. 36 strength of schedule. Very impressive. 2 ranked wins. And yeah, CAA involvement, but they're not the auto bid, Jamie. Isn't that interesting? I mean, it's crazy. People always think that the conference champion has to get it, but
no, for the CAA, you can think as soon as 2021, where Villanova went to James Madison and beat them. That was really annoying, by the way, and won the conference in the tiebreak, and Jamie still got the higher seed. So,
and another one, Southern Utah won the Big Sky one year, but Portland State was the only Big Sky team seeded.
Interesting.
It happens.
It does happen.
Southern Utah's going to win the USC next year.
No, they're not.
Had to get it in there.
All right, guys. There's only 2 spots left, and there's 3 of us. So rightfully so, the dumbest one jumps out of the group, and it goes right back to Kylor Neal to pick seed number 7. Kylor, who we feeling right here, my man?
Man, where are the seeds?
Right now, our seeds look like number 1, South Dakota State, Furman at number 2, Montana State 3, South Dakota 4, Montana 5, and Albany at the 6th seed. The teams we've identified that we think in our hypothetical could still get the seeds: Idaho, Delaware, and North Dakota State pretty much represents everybody else around them. It doesn't mean them specifically.
Did we have Delaware beating Nova or Nova beating Delaware?
I had Nova winning that.
Oh, well then you would have to give Nova a seed over Delaware.
Sorry, I said Delaware beating Delaware.
Oh no, yeah,
Okay.
we have
Okay.
Delaware. We had Delaware.
I was just like, wait a minute, something's not.
I have Delaware
Okay.
winning that game. Yeah.
Then, yeah, I think you got to give it to Delaware at this point. Yeah, They'd be the CAA champs, 9 wins, 2 ranked wins. Yeah, the Fighting Blue Hens, I think you'd end up getting, the 7th.
All right. Delaware in here. Congratulations to them. Look at this. For the first time in my life live, I will put an A here instead of an E. Good job. All right. Properly spelled. Looking good.
Almost put that E there, buddy.
It was. I was like, is it the E?
NCCU. NCCU.
Which one is it?
Put them in, your cowards. 9 wins. NCCU, do it.
Jamie, North Dakota State or somebody else or Idaho. Do you see anybody at this point that you would put in there besides Idaho? Like a UT Martin? Would the committee go crazy and throw UT Martin in there? They're, I kind of explained why I thought they were a good pick, or we got somebody like that at all?
Yeah, I mean, they're a good pick, but they're also somebody who doesn't have any ranked wins. They haven't played anybody ranked. They do have an FBS loss, so they've only got 1. But I'm not going to consider them. I think you're right. I think you've got the last 2 teams that would be under discussion. You're looking at both 8-3 teams. Obviously, Idaho with an FBS loss. All 3 of North Dakota State's losses are to ranked teams. Idaho has that just absolute albatross of a loss to Weber State. But they do have an FBS win over a trash team. So it's really, really close. Matt, stump me for North Dakota State. Kylor, stump me for Idaho.
You want me to counter? You want me to say no to North Dakota State?
Nope. I want you to sell me North Dakota State. Kylor will sell me Idaho. I'm leaning one way, but I'll see if you can.
So with North Dakota State, the real question will be, do you truly believe this happened last year? I guess it's not a good sell, but last year the committee put North Dakota State with a worst resume over Montana State, saying that they're worthy of the 2, and they ended up being the runner-up in the national championship. I guess you would be banking off the fact that do you actually think that Idaho is better than North Dakota State this year? I don't have a good sell here. I think Idaho is the easy call, man. I can't even defend my own team. I think it's Idaho.
That was a bad plug because and yes, you made it to Frisco, yeah, because
I
Montana
hate
State
that
had to
argument.
play South Dakota State.
I hate that argument so much too. So yeah, Jamie, I don't have anything for him, man. I think it's Idaho.
You want me to sell Idaho versus North Dakota State? For one, the Kibbie Dome is better than whatever the Fargo. That's not even a real college arena, right? You don't even own it. At least the Kibbie Dome's owned by a university.
Have you seen interest rates lately? Renting is the way to go.
What's crazy is Matt was leaning towards, Idaho. I'm leaning towards North Dakota State, so you had to sell the wrong things. I think North Dakota State, we could say what we want about the committee not being influenced. It's going to be really tough if both teams are 8-3. I get it. An FBS win against Nevada, who's not a top 40, 50 FCS program. And I get it. They're FBS, but they're not even a top 50 FCS program. They stink. The loss to Weber looks bad, right? Both of them, 3 ranked wins. Strength of schedule is going to be similar. The only difference is, all right, Idaho played 2 FBS teams, NDSU didn't. That's why the strength of schedule is different. It is what it is. But NDSU didn't lose to Weber. Now, Weber did beat Northern Iowa, so we'll see what happens this weekend. I don't know. I think recency bias, you got to kind of give it to NDSU. They're more proven. They didn't go on the road and lose to Southeastern Louisiana, and I get this is a new year, new team. But if you're in the committee and it's between new surging Idaho versus North Dakota State, the greatest dynasty that Division I football's ever seen, it's going to be hard not to give NDSU not that last seed. It's close, though. And also, Weber is that bad. Eastern beat him. Shut up.
I mean, when you're comparing the losses that these 2 teams have, Weber is the worst loss of the 5.
I don't know. North Dakota stinks too.
Yeah, but so that's where I would say that. I think Jason's just trying to pump his team up to get back in. That's all. Yeah, I mean,
all I know is if your team loses to Eastern this year, your team stinks. That's all I'll say. So Weber, you stink.
Matt really messed me up by picking Central Arkansas over Austin Peay because that would have been my easy 8 seed. So Matt just blew the whole bracket up all day Chris Haven style. So that's okay.
I thought the Grizz were going to get the Brawl of the Wild. So
Stinger's Don.
That's right. So I'm going to pretend like, God dang it. I'm just going to
go with Idaho. It's Idaho. Go with Idaho. We don't want to be the
If you're-
people who do that.
If you're going on this year and you're looking at what they've done, it's got to be Idaho. The strength of schedule is better. They got an FBS win. It's Idaho. We're going with
I
Idaho.
agree. Idaho it is.
And Seth Meyer, yes, UC Davis does stink. I stand by that. I think Sac State stinks too.
Okay, guys. Well, we're going to bounce Jamie out of here now. So we're going to remove Jamie from the stage. We're going to bring the Rev back in. Rev, you can, I'll pop the comments here now if you want to unmute yourself, my man. Guys, stick with us. What Jamie's going to do now is he's in the back doing his best bracketology. We look forward to Jason Groom's feedback on that, the bracketology extraordinaire on the Facebook page. That being said, guys, with this or with any FCS questions in general, now's your chance to post them live, and we'll try to answer as many as we can between Kylor, Rev, and myself. As some questions flow in, Rev, what do you think about the seeding situation? How do you feel about that as folks start to blast us with these questions?
Yeah, I think with the results that we assume this weekend, this is probably what makes the most sense. I could see going back and forth on Idaho and NDSU. But if you look, I mean, if you look at FCS losses, Idaho's FCS losses, yeah, they lost to Weber, but their losses have been close. They haven't been blown out in an FCS game. NDSU has. And that's a big difference, I think. And the committee's going to look at that and say, let's look at the competition. I mean, recency bias does tie into this, but I don't think NDSU will get a seed.
That's an incredible point, though. Like, people have not mentioned that. And Rev, honestly, that's like one of the most logical things between those two teams. You're right. NDSU, the SDSU, the USD game, I'm sorry. Oh, the Coyote game. Yeah, they came back to make it close at the end, but it was not good for like almost 3 quarters. And then they got shellacked against UND and SDSU. You're right. Idaho was in it every single time. So, Kylor, Kenko wants to know, good man, is USD the FCS Iowa? No offense, but outstanding D, crumbles against the top teams. What do you think? How would you see USD in this situation?
I mean, Iowa wouldn't beat most of the Missouri Valley. No, I'm joking on that one. No, I don't think they're the FCS Iowa. Maybe that's NDSU this year. Specifically this year, you lose to all the good teams, and then you beat all the mediocre to decent teams.
Oh,
so
our offense is too good. The offense is good. The
offense is
bad.
too okay. They're definitely too okay. They didn't look very good against the good teams that they have played outside of Southern Illinois. So I don't know. No, I don't think they're the FCS Iowa, though. I think the FCS Iowa is that one's tough. I need to think about that one.
That one can be tough. Right here, Kylor, tell the people I am not a madman thinking the Yotes can be a 2 seed in this scenario. What do you think?
I mean,
could they?
I mean, they definitely could be. I mean, if you're looking at just pure resume, right, they have a lot of ranked wins. Their strength of schedule solid. Their only losses to South Dakota State. Technically, yeah, they could be a 2 seed. It all just kind of depends on what goes on with this game. Like I said, there's 3 teams, depending on the Brawl of the Wild, that is going to be competing for the 2 through 4. And I don't think either way you look at it's bad. All 3 of those teams would deserve 2, 3, and 4. And it kind of just depends on which one you think is valued more. But South Dakota's resume is up there. I mean, there's probably a bigger argument that they deserve a 2 seed than maybe some of the other teams.
Very well. Hey, this is a great one. Adam Peterson, our man, always asking questions. One of the probably the best Illinois State fan that exists on planet Earth. Bouncing this one to you, Kylor, I hate to just keep pinging you, man, but you were the UND Illinois State predictor. So let's say it goes the other way. Illinois State beats UND. Do you think they'd have the resume to get in at those at-larges?
No,
what do you think?
I think in that scenario, if you're looking at some of our scenarios, you probably would pick a Youngstown State over Illinois State. You would probably pick Sac State over Illinois State. I think Illinois State's out-of-conference resume just wasn't that impressive. Would they play Robert Morris and something else? I don't remember. Unfortunately, yeah, I think you would kind of look at the head-to-heads. Youngstown State, same record, would probably get the bump over. So, no, I think Illinois State, you're probably done.
Gotcha. Andrew Markham here. Andrew, my man. He said, I missed it earlier. If Howard loses and NCCU wins, won't they still go forward to the Celebration Bowl? That is correct. Yep. If Howard drops it and NCCU wins, then they got a chance to keep on going. So, Rev, I got a question for you. Looking at the bracket right here, who should be licking their chops? South Dakota State's really good. We know this. Who would see this as a seed and be like, oh, there's no at-larges inputted here yet, but who would you see and be like, yeah, we're feeling good about this? Who would you love to be in this situation?
If I'm looking at this, I think it's any team who plays Furman. And I'm not trying to shit on the SoCon, so sorry, Kevin, but if you look at the way this is stacking up, I mean, the teams that are set up to potentially face Furman in the later rounds, I think match up very well against them. So if I'm one of those teams, I'm looking at this like, hey, here's an opportunity to go to South Carolina and get an upset. Other than that, I mean, you got to think the potential Idaho South Dakota State EC Bowl, I guess you could say, would be a fun one to watch too. But I don't think
As
Idaho
fans, they don't want it.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't think Idaho would keep up with South Dakota State. So to me, if it's whoever's going to get Furman in the quarters, has to be.
I think
at this.
MSU would love this. For one, because Delaware versus Furman is an interesting matchup. I don't know who I'd pick in that. That's actually a really good game. But then you also have Montana State. I like I said earlier, even if I picked Furman to be the 2 seed in this scenario, but I wouldn't bet on Furman beating Montana State. So worst case scenario, you're Montana State. You don't have to go on the road to South Dakota State. You get to go on the road to Furman. I bet you if you're a Bobcat fan, you would absolutely love this rather than going to Brookings.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So Jamie Williams is doing his thing in the background. Here we go. It's time to apply some teams to go play other teams. All right, here come the at-larges. And Jamie, I'll get you unmuted here.
Hold on, I'm halfway done.
He's halfway.
Only halfway. Come on,
Only
Matt.
halfway. Come on, man.
I'm halfway done typing them up. I've got them all here.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. He's halfway
Okay,
done.
all right,
typing
we're
them
good.
up.
We're good. All right, we're good. We'll go from here. I'll just rattle them off this way.
All right, no worries. I will type them in.
Jason Grooms. All I would say, Jason, cut me some slack. I'm doing this quickly. I'm going to get some stuff wrong. I know you're the guy. But cut me some slack. I'm going to do the best I can. I know there's probably 2 or 3 mistakes here. But here's where I'm going to go since I had to go quickly. Austin P plays Tennessee Martin. Those 2 teams are in the same state.
And Jamie, just to give you a little break here. Don't worry. If you mess anything up, my typing live is going to be way worse. So watch how many of these teams' names go wrong.
I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down through the seeds 1 through 8 of who they're going to play. That'll make it easier.
Perfect, man. So we got South Dakota State will play the winner of Austin P against UT Martin, and next we have number 2 Furman. Who are we going to see there?
Against Furman, I have the winner of a game between Western Carolina and Davidson.
Western Carolina and Davidson coming out here. All right. Well, Furman will get that winner. Okay, going on to the 3 seed Montana State. Who should they anticipate playing on Thanksgiving weekend?
Yeah, this one I had to kind of do a little stretch. I've got Gardner Webb playing Central Arkansas there.
Gardner Webb, Central Arkansas. Boom, boom, boom. All right, the 4 seed South Dakota.
They would play the winner of UC Davis and Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois. There's no noise in Illinois. All right, and our 5 seed Montana.
Want to talk about a spicy second-round matchup?
Uh-oh.
The winner, Montana will play the winner of Nichols at North Dakota State.
Ooh.
Put Kevin's comment up, Dustin.
They're gonna move that indoors, right?
Yeah, Kev, it does. But we know how the geography is going to go, and I'll build your soapbox for that one, my friend.
Hey, at least the SoCon has the easiest game in there. I wouldn't be bitching if they played Davidson. Jesus Christ.
All right, Jamie, what do we have for our 6 seed Albany?
We got a cross-state matchup. It's not quite the Eagles and the Steelers. It's Duquesne and Villanova.
Oh, I got to spell Duquesne live? Oh, jeez.
D-U-Q.
How do you Dusquin?
Come on, that's not fair.
It's Duquesne. Spell it that way.
Dude, you just named the next one. I'm gonna Google it, and even Google's like, "Do you mean this?"
D-U-Q-U-E-S-N-E, I think.
Community college.
Just write Duke. Who cares?
Just write.
There we go.
Do the Retro Bowl name. Do Pittsburgh Catholic or whatever it is on Retro Bowl.
Then he's got to spell
And
Catholic.
Jamie, who are they playing?
Villanova.
Villanova. There we go. All right. And our 7 seed Delaware.
All right, Delaware will get the winner of Mercer and North Carolina Central.
I think you did pretty dang good with this.
And Idaho will get the win. This is the one. Obviously, somebody always has to do a weird travel. Lafayette travels to, or maybe they don't travel. They probably do travel to North Dakota.
North Dakota with Lafayette. Definitely going to spell that really quick. Oh, I would have got it right. That's pretty cool. All righty, guys. So that does set our entire bracket. If you're watching live on YouTube, this based off of all the predictions, what the playoff field would look like. It's set. It's looking good. Jamie, well done. All righty. So I'll go right to you, Jamie. What do you think? Who has, looking at the whole picture, who would feel really, really good about their chances to get to the semis? Because it's an easy thing for you to say, well, I just don't want to be on the side of South Dakota State. Getting to the semis, who should feel really good here?
Yeah, let's see. Definitely, obviously, South Dakota State for sure. Honestly, let's see. Probably Montana State. I mean, that side breaks down pretty nicely for them.
They might not have a close game into the semis.
Yeah, I might have too many Valley teams on the left side of the bracket, so I'd probably have to switch somebody over there. Yeah, I'd have to split I had to split the Missouri Valley. I'd have to either move a whole game, swap a whole game, or swap some teams. So that's a problem. That's a problem that wasn't intentional. It's just as I was writing them up, trying to be. I'd have to move
in Southern Illinois over to Montana State, and then Gardner Webb in Central Arkansas.
Yeah, I'd have to move something like that.
So it'd be have to kind of this change right in Southern Illinois would have to bounce out, or one of the Dakotas or something could move.
I think you just switch to Montana State and South Dakota.
Yeah.
So if you want to make that swap, go for it. But that's what we would have to do.
Jamie, what would the change? What would the change be? My apologies.
Go ahead, Kylor. Go ahead, Kylor.
Yeah, so I would probably put UC Davis, Southern Illinois in terms of the Gardner Webb and Central Arkansas. I just switch those.
Just switch those two around.
Play around.
Aha. Gardner Webb
in Central Arkansas.
Because all you need to do is really split one. You could have 4 teams on one on the other. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So looking at this would be the full bracket, guys. South Dakota State all the way to number 8 ranked Idaho for the seeds and the at-larges at whole. What an absolute job well done. Only a few audio issues, had a few fun comments and everything else. Not too shabby. Rev, there you go. That's the whole picture. What do you feel about this bracket? How do you think it all laid out?
I think based upon the results we expect, Jamie did a good job laying it out. I'm sure people are going to look at this and go, what the hell? But man, this actually looks pretty good. I think he got the Jason Groom seal of approval also. So that's good.
At least pretty close.
Pretty close. I think this is going to be a fun playoff. They always are, and you never know what's going to happen. So let's see how this weekend plays out. Let's see if the results that we think happen, and let's see what the committee says. Maybe the committee will see this and go, hey, Jamie Williams is right. This is what we should do.
Yeah, unless epic, crazy chaos, which it has been all season, really goes all over the place. I think this might be one of the easier years for the committee, and they can only get in their own way. Just looking at what we saw, I don't think there's a lot of mystery. There might be 3 or 4 at the at-larges, which it always is, last 4 in, last 4 out. And I don't think the seeds are going to be overly too difficult. I don't think it's going to be too bad, but we'll have to see how it plays out. Gentlemen, Kylor Neal, Jamie Williams, Justin out in the Rev. Final thoughts, Kylor, before we almost wrap this sucker up.
What a stupid pick and bracket we just created. I'm glad some of our picks aren't going to happen. No, it's all good. Hey, it's FCS football. Playoffs are the best, right? We don't get to go watch a 6-5 team versus 6-5 team claim that they're some Jiffy Lube Bowl champion, KY Lube Jelly champion. I don't know what it is. So playoffs are where it is. I'm excited. Too bad my team doesn't get a watch, but I get a watch. So it is what it is.
Absolutely. Hey, by the way, Rev, Kylor, Jamie, myself, we will all be in Frisco. We almost had about 200 views pretty close to it the whole hour and 25 minutes here, about an hour and a half, you guys, on a Sunday night, 9:25 Central, 10:30 Eastern. You folks need to go to bed, but we respect and love every single one of you. This show will, of course, be live out on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify throughout the rest of the week. And a giant plug here, guys. We're live again next week. We are live at the time of the selection show. The time of the selection show, we will be live. So around 10:45 Central, 11:45 Eastern, we are going to live stream the actual selection show. So why watch ESPN with the volume turned up? Why watch any other source for the release of this? Why not come into the community feel of this live stream of you 200 crazy people who are all chatting and having a good time? And let's discuss the breakdown of the real bracket together. So don't forget, look for the promos all week, and make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. For now, though, it is time to roll out on the FCS Fans Nation podcast. We appreciate our sponsors, Walk On Apparel, and, of course, our great sponsors, the Versus Sports Simulator. And for the rest of you out there, make sure you have a good evening. Make sure you tear us apart on Twitter and Facebook, debate it up. And, Jamie, some final thoughts before we roll.
Just real quick about our sponsor, Walk On Apparel. For all you Southern Conference fans or East Tennessee State fans, they did release an East Tennessee State selection this past weekend. So go on there. Obviously, use the promo code FCS Fans Nation. Want to get that in there. Thank you to both of our sponsors. Appreciate all they've been able to do for us this year, helping us out. Looking forward to seeing everybody in Frisco. And like Mr. Kevin Marshall said on our talk with Sam Hurd the other day, even if your team's not there, make the trip to Frisco. We do it every year, and we have a great time. You'll find us down you'll find us in the all in a couple of rows together, and we'll be out there Thursday, Friday, all the way through. So look forward to meeting a bunch of you. I appreciate everybody spending time with us for an hour and a half tonight.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I do have one parting words of wisdom for the page. Ooh. So, guys, this is Brawl of the Wild week. Here's the thing. This is the worst and the best time to be on the page. Keep it clean-ish. Now, I'm not the one who should be ever saying stuff. I don't delete comments. I don't do a lot of this stuff. I don't block people that much. I'm lazy. All I know is some of the stuff is getting a little bit on the breaking all the page rules and getting pretty gnarly. So have fun, but come on, guys. We don't want to turn off all the posts. We want to read all of these stupid things, not turn it off to where none of you guys can use a page besides one thread. So I'm not saying keep it PG. No, keep it R. But let's not attack other people. Just attack the teams. Let's not get a little crazy here. Let's have some fun. But come on, guys.
And Rev, you actually get the last comments, and then after your comments, make sure you say the final word to this show that happens every week, and we'll see if you and I can time it perfectly. So you have the floor there, Rev. We appreciate your help tonight.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Glad to help. Looking for this playoff. And one last thing to tie on to Kylor's comment: if you're gonna smack talk, be funny, be original. Keep it clean. Don't be insulting to people. But the same crap gets old every year. Get better at your smack talk. You know what? Come to me. I will walk you through how to be funny. Okay? Like, just be better. That's it. Enjoy the games this week. Sorry,
go. See a dentist before you post. Jackasses.
Leave the cheek alone.
And your trophy looks like a big pile of crap. So Jurassic Park style. Anyways, that's it. Y'all have a great week, and boom.
Thank you for listening to the FCS Fans Nation podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe to this podcast on your preferred listening platform, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google, or even YouTube. And make sure to follow our FCS Fans Nation social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you for listening to the premier podcast for FCS football. Boom. The FCS Fans Nation podcast is brought to you by Walk On Apparel. Walk On Apparel specializes in FCS and mid-major clothing and believes that every fan base should have quality options to rep the schools they love. Along with you receiving a great product, 10% of the profit from every sale is donated directly to that school's athletic fund. Visit walkon-apparel.com
and use promo code FCS Fans Nation to get 15% off of your purchase. Limited schools currently available with new releases monthly. Walk on Apparel. Up the fans, up the culture. The FCS Fans Nation podcast is also sponsored by the ultimate analytical prediction football experience. Introducing the Versus Sports Simulator, your secret weapon for predicting FCS, mid-major, and all other football games. Get ahead of the game and take your sports betting and knowledge to the next level with a site and app that's built to ignore bias and just give you the facts. If you subscribe today and use promo code FCS Fans Nation, you'll save 20% on your subscription. You can download the Versus app on the App Store and Google Play by searching Versus Sports Simulator or going to versussportssimulator.com. With Versus, it's not a prediction, it's science.